One thing I also wanted to add, every MSPs or most MSPs that really want to grow and scale, they are trying to implement sort of their standard. And I think issue that some people walk into is that they want to implement that standard right away. For some things, obviously in the back end, you really want to push forward on that, not give in too much. But when you talk about the end user equipment, I would always tell people do what you can in the first 3 to 6 months. It's tough. Even if they signed a new contract with you and so forth, they're still not completely bought into you. It's still a new relationship for them, and they kind of need to feel you out a little bit. So, go in, maybe if anything, even take a good inventory of what they have now and start kind of tracking the activity. Because again, that's an experience I had. The client really just wanted to stick with fairly low end equipment. It was all different brands, like worst case scenario, no standard at all. And we were just tracking it. And just a few months into the relationship, the CEO was actually joining us for a review. And they were like, why do we keep buying equipment that just keeps dying so quickly? That just seems wasteful. So,
Yeah.
or it was creating a lot of other issues, and then they saw it. Basically everything you're saying, they saw it right away. And we didn't really have to push too hard. We just sort of kept a great log of what was going on with what I quote their solution for the end user equipment. And then before you know it, the story sort of tells itself. And that's it. Don't push so much right up front. Focus on just sort of getting that trust with them.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you'll be able to get your standard in there.
And we kind of fit in that niche too, where when you're coming into a new client or you're in a client, they have budget constraints. Trying to pitch to them that they've got 20 machines, a new Dell Latitude system is going to be $1,500 per unit straight from Dell. That's going to be a $30,000, $40,000 expense for them. That's a tougher pitch. Where
Yeah.
we seem to fit into the market is we still have new open box or refurb equipment, but it's running about half of that expenditure. We're still giving a 3-year advanced replacement warranty on it. We're giving those hot swap spares to the MSP so that they can manage if there are RMAs, if there are issues. You can come in at a much more reasonable price point. And since there are those hot swaps, maybe you don't have to replace out all 20 of them at once. You can roll out 5. And if one of their units that they had from that mix mash beforehand, if that fails out, you've got a hot swap spare on the shelf to add in. Yeah, our goal for our customers is to have about 1 month's worth of hardware on the shelf for them at any given time. And when I say 1 month's worth, it's of my type of hardware. So if they're selling 20 new units and 5 refurbs, or from distribution 10 units and 10 units of ours, I want to make sure that on any given month they have about 10 units. When they sell something, they get paid by the client. They can then pay us and we'll refill that shelf. You know, the speed to customer is much faster that way. If it's something you guys, the MSP is already holding, it solves a capital expenditure problem. A lot of MSPs don't want to have $10,000 worth of hardware sitting on their shelf. The warranties with an OEM solution start when you buy the product. In our world, our warranty starts when you sell the product to the customer. So
Hmm.
if it sits on your shelf for a month and then you deploy it, they're not getting 35 months. They're still getting 36 months of warranty. So we were solving for a lot of those business problems. The technology, I could talk about technology all day, but we sell Dell, Lenovo, HP product. If you're a Dell shop, buy the Dell stuff. If you're a Lenovo shop, buy the Lenovo stuff. I don't have a horse in the race on who makes the best product. What I can say is we do pay a lot of attention to what fail rates look like. If there's a particular model inside of any of those OEMs that are failing, we don't carry it. If we're going to warranty something for 3 years, I have to make sure that it's good. And by proxy, you're doing the same thing for your customers. So we're solving some of those business problems up front. And I guess if we do anything for an MSP, it's help them make money in a procurement process that normally doesn't make them money. It's usually a headache. We try to standardize it. It's usually a cost center. We try to remove the cost aspect of it. You know, all of those different things were things we were solving for when we were building out the company.
Yeah, and everything you said, I love that, especially the part about headaches. Because at the end of the way I think about it is less headaches for your clients is less headaches for you.
Yeah.
So that's really why you want to start approaching a strategy of standardization. And I love the fact that you're already aware of what the fail rates are. I'm assuming even down to certain models, right? So
Oh yeah. I could tell you that 7490s became a huge headache for us about a year ago. So Dell Latitude 7490, Microsoft went and pushed out a update that broke the video driver.
uh,
And when it broke the video driver, it blue screened the machines.
uh,
Right? And if you only had one in your fleet, you wouldn't know why it was doing that. In our case, we already had about 100 units or 200 units out in the fleet.
right.
What we did was we offered it to our MSPs. We brought all of those back in that wanted to, replace them out with 5400s until we could solve that for the customer. Distributions don't usually do that. And another thing, I guess a use case for something like that is kind of how we started the Net 90 program. And a lot of MSPs are like, I only buy new and we only buy through distribution. It's like, okay, that makes sense. And I understand that. So, what things kept them from looking at our product? Well, one's upfront expenditure. Why spend money on something that you don't know if it's going to be the quality or the type of machine you want? So we started sending the machines out to the customers for free. We're like,
Mhm.
you take the machine. If it's no good, I shipped it to you for free. If you don't like it, we put in a ticket. That machine, we create a shipping label. We ship it back for free. So the barrier to entry, when I was like, if there's no barrier to entry, what keeps an MSP from having that product on the shelf? Same thing. It's, does a company want to have five or $10,000 of their operating capital sitting in product
Mhm.
instead of churning? We went and solved for that. We provide that product. So it's kind of like being a micro investor in all of our customers, which makes me happy.
I think that's amazing as well. Working with traditional distributors, on most models, you will see prices do continually drop, even if it's 2 or 3 units. And I won't be able to sell them at the price I bought them if they sit on the shelf too long. I love your system in which I don't have to take that risk.
Once we started implementing that, it tripled the business overnight. So it really did make a big difference to both our customers and the business itself.
James, thanks for jumping on. I'm curious to hear what issues have you had with procurement and what other challenges? Please share that in the description or rather in the comments below. James' information will be in the description as well. So if you want to get a hold of him at Griffin IT, please reach out. And James, thanks again.
Thank you very much.
All right.